Grand. Okay, so welcome. I've got a bolster tonight instead of a blanket, so it just gives you just another option, sitting on the edge of a pillow. So if you've got a blanket, you're very welcome to sit on that and try and find a comfy seated position. And that's not always easy because we don't need our heels crossed and we don't need them too close to us either. So even if you shift the feet out a little bit, or if that's uncomfy, you can come to a little seated position with the soles of the feet together, if bringing the feet towards you, wherever you are. And I like to get my hips a little higher than my knees, and that means I can just allow myself to straighten the spine. So it gives me a little bit more length and a bit more height without having to draw the spine up. So it's just that support that we've got. So welcome everybody. And we're just going to take a moment here just to allow ourselves to relax a little. Relaxing shoulders. Drawing length through the body. Maybe just gently tucking the chin, which will give you a stretch down the back of the neck. And it's often quite interesting to see where our hands are. Sometimes palms facing up is very much about kind of that receiving energy, and palms facing down is very much about grounding, depending what type of day you've had. And then just allow your breath just to gently rise and fall with the inhale and the exhale. Maybe softening the eyes. And allow your inhale and exhale to become equal in their length of breathing. So you might find that you lengthen the exhale a bit more than the inhale naturally, or other way around. Start to bring them so they're even. And then as you come to the top of the breath in the inhale, if you wish, you can just gently retain the breath. Just hold the breath very slightly at the top and then exhale all the way out. It's quite noisy. And then gently bring your focus back in front of you. And we're just going to work the neck just very gently. So we're just going to drop one ear across to the shoulder. Just allow a stretch down the side of the neck. And then allow the head to move to the opposite side. Now, to increase the stretch very gently, what we can do is we can take, if we're taking the right ear to the right shoulder, we can take the right arm, gently bring the hand to the left ear, and you're not pressing at all, you're just allowing a little weight. It's a bit of a Marmite pose. You have to find that place where it's not stretching too much and your arm is still comfy. So you can drape that hand over the ear. And then very, very gently, bring your head back to center, bring the hand down. Draw the opposite arm up and just allow the same again on the other side. And then just release. Allow your head to come back to center. And we're going to take our right hand gently across to the side of us. We're going to lift the left hand up and we're going to keep the chest open. And we're just going to draw a side bend. So just, you can bend into the elbow. And always keep that breath moving. You're going to sweep that hand forwards, and as you do, you can arch the back slightly and bring the hands forwards. So you can walk the hands in front of you, and then drawing the chin into the chest, maybe come to the fingertips if you wish, or the hands engaged on the mat. Just allow a stretch through the front body. And breathe into this. Walk the hands now, the left hand across to the left hand side, draw the right hand up, drawing length through the right side of the body, and then come across again. And if your hand is forward slightly, that's absolutely fine. We've all got different shoulder mobility. You might even want to take the hand back up and look at the hand so we get a different neck stretch. Bring it all the way back to center. I'm going to take hands across, so we're going to take them to either knee. Roll down, so you're really curving the spine, tucking the chin, bring the belly into the spine, and just allow a little stretch here. Keep your right hand on your left knee and allow the left hand to come behind you, opening to a gentle twist. So really make sure you're keeping that length. We're not forcing the spine, but we're just allowing support from the core. If you just allow yourself to draw the spine back slightly, you'll feel that it starts to engage as well. Swap hands, so left hand comes across to the right knee. And just lifting through the spine again. All the way back to center. And we're going to bring our hands and we're going to push our hands into our knees. So we're going to feel the knees kind of grounding, okay? So just a little bit of support here. You don't have to force the knees, but just a little bit of pressure. And what we're going to do, we're going to do seated cat-cow. So we're going to tuck and draw the chin to the chest on an exhale. And then we're going to inhale and open, look to the sky. Rolling down, exhale. Draw all the way back up. Inhale. Last time on the exhale, rolling forwards. And then all the way back to center. We're going to come to the mat. So use your blanket, just pop it to the side if you need for knees. We're going to come to child's pose, Balasana. Now you've got a choice. You can bring your knees as wide as the yoga mat and toes together. or you can bring the knees together and the feet together. So it's really up to you. Wherever we are, we're going to stretch either the hands out in front. So I can bring my index fingers and bring them to a diamond shape. Or if you really want a lovely resting, secure pose, you can bring the hands and just gently, if you've got warmer hands than me, gently take the feet. If you're needing a little bit of height, Sheena, on the hips, if you've got a blanket, pop it behind your heels, just behind the legs. And what it will give you, that's it, in between the back of the thigh and the heel. So actually on top of your, that's it. That will give you a little bit, kind of bit more there that you can try and get to. And really breathe into the child's pose, breathe into the back. And it's always a really good time to point out for those who maybe haven't been to all my classes before, that child's pose, when your forehead is on the mat, if you've got any tension in the forehead or a headache, if you just roll your forehead gently back and forward, side to side on the yoga mat, you do actually get a really nice kind of massage for the scalp and the forehead, and it's quite good at taking away any tension, headaches, or just giving a wee bit of a relief there. If you're not keen on rolling your forehead direct on your mat, you can use a little kind of eye pillow or blanket. And then we're going to draw ourselves all the way up. And we're going to come forward and bring ourselves so we are stacked back position. So I'm going to take the layers off. It went really cold when I came across and I was like, it's cold. Got a really nice hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And I'm going to push gently away from the yoga mat, just to engage the front of the feet, feel the core engaging. And I'm going to look between the thumbs. So really spread the fingers and push into the fingers. And then we're going to take our right foot and stretch it right out to the end of the mat, toes onto the end of the mat, stacking the toes underneath the heel. So you're really pushing the toes onto the mat and pushing through the heel. And then a lovely warm-up. We did this on the paddle boards as well for the wrists. Slightly easier on a non-moving mat is rocking forwards and back. We're just starting to warm the wrist, starting to warm the ankle. You'll feel that you're engaging your core. Just back and forwards. And then bring the knee underneath you, extend the opposite leg. Another option here is coming to the forearms. You won't get the wrist stretch, but you will get the ankle movement if you're finding that just being on the hands is quite a lot. I think my wrists are hurting, only just because I've been climbing this afternoon and nothing else. So. And then we're going to bring the other foot back to the end of the mat and step into plank right at the beginning of the practice. And we're going to draw the gaze as long as the mat. Now, remember, you can keep the knees down on this, which really supports the shoulders as well. Still really effective. Nice long gaze. And Lynn, we're bringing the hips down a little if you can. And if that's really tricky, bring your knees down to the mat. Engage the core and look forwards. So you're still, that's it. And then come all the way down to the knees. just take a little stretch all the way back with the hips to the heels. And then we'll draw and arch our back all the way back up, just that stacked back position, tucking our toes underneath us now, coming to hovering cat, and just lifting gently the knees just off the mat. At any point you can come down to the mat. And again, an option here, which is quite a fun option to try as well, is forearms. If you find wrists, you're doing quite good in the wrists, you can also do hovering cat with a forearm on the mat, which is great. Really good for the core as well. So if you haven't tried it, do just bring a little heat to the body right at the beginning of practice. And then just gently bring the knees down and just take a moment. Another thing, which is a good reminder to those as well, is my little break dancing move. See, it works, they are. So just if you find the wrists, you can move the wrists around, and it just gives, what we're doing is wanting to strengthen the core, we're wanting to strengthen our whole body, so that we're bringing the weight off the wrists and we're using our hands. But just when we're starting out, or even today, I'm feeling it. So it's just about protecting our hands, our wrists, and using those fingers and the knuckles to really push into the mat, spreading the fingers, and really just reminding ourselves about the basic foundation. We're going to come back here, back to that stack back position. We're going to take our arm out, and we're going to just open. As we open, we're going to inhale. We're going to lift it as far as you want. It might just be to the side. It might be that you have real flexibility. You want to open the chest to the sky, wherever you're comfy, but don't overstretch the shoulder. And then that hand is going to come and thread all the way under. And it's, if someone's taking your hand the other side, if you can, bring the side of your shoulder and your ear down to the mat. If you can't, just hovering is absolutely fine. And then we're going to inhale as we open all the way back up on the same side. Exhaling as we thread all the way back through. And if you wish, when you're here, you've also got a few other options. So I've threaded my right arm through, so my opposite leg, I'm going to stretch out long and just tuck my toes on the mat. So if you want to stop and peek at this, it's absolutely fine. So I've got my right arm under and I've just extended my left leg. If you're feeling the love for balance, you can extend the left arm to the front of the mat if you wish. Or you can just hover and take a moment, play with the shapes, play with what feels comfy for you. And then draw yourself all the way back up to center. Opposite side now. And again, with the knees, you can even do this with wide knees if you feel that base is good and you want to just start to work the hips a little. Opening the left arm, we open to the sky, or wherever you're comfy. It can even go halfway if you feel the stress on the shoulder. And then we're going to thread all the way through. If you can, bringing the shoulder down just to the mat. And then open all the way back up again. Brilliant. You might find flexibility is different on one side to the other. And then a little variation as well. So threading again. Now, I had that hand that is supporting me, now my right hand. It might come forwards, or even it might come and tuck around the back and tuck facing out. We often use binds in yoga. It's that little extra stretch of the body. But keep breathing. So don't hold the breath. All the way back to center. Come back up to stack back. Bring the knees underneath you and drop the belly. Look forwards into cow. And then rounding the spine, we're going to exhale into cat. Just have a wee look at the feet behind you. The feet in line with the knees, in line with the hands. So we exhale as we round, tuck the spine in. Feel the shoulders just slide across the back when you tuck into cat. Inhaling into cow. And then we're all going to come back to that neutral spine position and bring our forearms to the mat. Now, when we work with our forearms on the mat, we try and keep the sides of the arms parallel with the edge of the mat. And probably what's comfy for you could be shoulder width apart. Sometimes a little wider is comfy. If your frame is neat, sometimes a little smaller. It's so wherever you feel is okay. And then we're going to walk the knees slightly back. And as we do, we're going to just push our hips up a little. Now, I'm going to ask you to now bring your right hand into your left elbow. So this is called a little quarter dog, a little puppy dog. And we're just gently going to draw the hips up, which are above your knees. And you might even wish to bring the forehead to the back of that hand. And just by extending one arm, we give the shoulders a little bit more support. You can, if you wish, bring those hands back into that little train track, and you can come into full puppy dog pose. So it's just giving you options here. Engaging the core gently. Opening the chest. Breathing. And then draw all the way up. Bring your hands towards you. Tuck the knees a little. And just take a moment circling the hips. It's been sometimes your practice changes each week, and mine does. And it's been an interesting week. And I don't know whether it's the paddleboard influence or not, but a lot of my practice has been quite low to the mat. So we are going up the way into balance. So just gently come to center, bring the hands into a position where I sometimes walk them forward a little bit to give me space to come into downward facing dog. So I'm going to allow the knees to bend, to lift the hips. And I'm looking for kind of really pushing into the hands, spreading the fingers, bending the knees to allow the sit bones to come high, engaging the core. And the arms, we're going to engage the shoulders and just focus on that a wee bit. So imagine you're pushing your arms towards each other, just as if the triceps, someone's put a band maybe kind of round the arms, an elastic band round the top of the arms, and it's bringing them together. And just feel the difference. And what we're after is that real sturdy support from the shoulders by bringing those hands together. And then allow the knees to bend a little, push the hips a little higher. And you do not have to have heels touching. Just allow weight into the heels, weight into the hands, and allow the neck to relax and look through the knees, allowing your drishti, your focal point, to be through the knees and beyond. And then bending the knees, we're going to just look forwards and either step to the front of the mat in little baby steps, or jump, or bring the hands and the feet together. So we're into Uttanasana, into fold. Really feel the feet engage with the mat here, and bend the knees very slightly. Draw the core gently in, And we're going to push through the feet and hinge at the hips, lifting all the way up, sunburst, all the way into mountain, hands to the heart. Excellent. And coming to the top of the mat, we're just going to take a little sequence. So feel kind of the soles of the feet. Now, I always bring my feet together, but for a little extra balance, you can bring them just hip width apart. So it's really about where you want to be. Relaxing the shoulders. We're going to allow the kind of footprint of the foot, really sucker to the mat, really push into the mat, but allow the arch, the heels, kind of the inside arch to lift as you lift through the inner leg and then lift. And it's a kind of a funny sensation. What you end up doing is lifting so relax our shoulders, allow to breathe. Taking a moment here, gently drawing the heels of the hands together. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold, bending at the knees, allowing yourself to come into Uttanasana. If the hands don't come to the mat, bring them to the legs. Inhale, flat backs. The hands might come below the shins, above the shins, length from the base to the crown. Imagine you've got a wee cup of tea on the back of your neck. We're going to plant the hands, and your choice, you can either step or hop to plank all the way. Knees can come down if you wish. Really push into those heels. Keep the hips down. That's it. So Lisanne, so if you have got your hips up, give yourself more space and then bring the hips forwards towards, now push through the heels and look towards the front of your mat. That's it. If it's really hard, bring your knees down. And then everyone's going to bring their knees down, keeping the elbows towards the back of the mat. Just come all the way, sinking to Bhujangasana, chin in, and lift into Bhujangasana, into Cobra. Serpent pose. Exhale all the way down. Bring the hands out. And then you can use fingertips, tuck the chin in if you wish. And we're just going to use wide arms here. So pushing away from the mat, and we're opening the chest. Now you don't have to be high, you can be really low. Depends on your flexibility in your back. All the way down. Push all the way. We're going to move through planks that engage the quadriceps, engage the core. Bring yourself to plank, and then we're moving, bending the knees, lift the hips to downward facing dog. We're going to step or hop or jump or walk through the midline all the way up to the top of the mat to Uttanasana, to forward fold. Just allow ourselves to draw length into the back of the legs here if you wish, or if it's tight on the lower back, bend the knees. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, sunburst all the way back up. Hands to the heart. We're going to bring the hands forwards now. So bring the hands up and forwards, and then we're going to bend at the knees and bend at the ankles into Utkatasana, into chair. So really sinking, that's it, well done. Now we're going to sweep our hands. So bring them to prayer in front of you. I'm going to sweep them. I'm going to sweep them to my left-hand side. Doesn't matter what side you are, wherever you want to be. Now you might just be staying here. You've got options here. You might draw the edge of your elbow to the outer, or you might find it easier to open. Lots of options. It's a revolved chair here. Easier one if you just want to take these hands to the heart and just literally twist at the waist. There's lots of playing. Everyone will be different with where they're comfortable. Okay? So Anne-Marie, if it's comfy for you, maybe give some length. Bring the hands down. Can you bring them to the outer edge of your leg? That's it. And then you might just even Bring the hand to the hip and open the shoulder. Just a revolved chair. All the way back to center, because I know your legs will be feeling that. And we're just going to take a moment, sweep the hands, inhale. Exhale, sink. And again, options. So hands could come to the heart. You turn at the waist and you come to revolved chair. And you could even open from there. Okay? Or one of the things I quite like is just sweeping the hand to the outside of the leg. That top hand doesn't have to extend right up. It could just come to the waist and just open that wing. So I'm not pushing that shoulder too far back, Sheena. Bring the hands here, bring them together, and then bring them to prayer. And then just turn your elbow a little. There you go. Lift all the way back up. We're going to keep our right foot at the front of the mat, and we're going to step back into a high lunge. Brilliant. So high lunge is where the back foot is actually facing forwards. We spoke last week about this little tailbone. If that, you can feel too much of a scoop, and that's causing a little bit of pressure. So she's looking over there and wobbling. Then drop that back knee a little. And what that allows you to do is to lengthen that tailbone, engage the core, crescent moon arms. Bring yourself hands to the heart. Hands behind, airplane arms. We're going to draw the body forwards. Inhale, arms come back, crescent moon arms. Very gently, we're going to draw our back knee down now. So we're going to draw ourselves to low lunge. Untucking that back foot if you wish. You can always use a blanket or come down or stay in high lunge, Sheena, if that's easier. Cactus the arms. If there's a wee wobble, little trick, bring that front foot out. It's a little stabilizer. Interlace the fingers, curving the back, so arching the back, and the index fingers come all the way back. We're going to bring the hands into cactus. Lifting up. And then the hands are going to come just by the side of us. And you do often need to move this foot forwards. I'm going to roll back on the heel into little half split. What I'm trying to do is keep the hip and the knee above each other. So sometimes I have to just push that foot forwards a wee bit. And drawing those toes towards me. Rolling forwards, use the hands to support you. Anchor the foot at the front, step, and we're going to just lift that back knee off the mat. I've got my right foot at the front. I'm going to leave my left hand and I'm going to come to an easy twist. So I'm twisting towards my knee. Again, the hand doesn't need to come up high. It could just be on the waist. And you're just opening. Hand frames the foot. And we're going to just gently rock here back and forwards. And you can either come to the knees and step up, or you can hop back to the front. So it's however the transition is to you to Uttanasana. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Push into the heels, the feet, lift all the way, sunburst all the way up. Hands to the heart. Just using hands to the heart, we're going to step the opposite foot back into high lunge. Excellent. Dropping that back knee if you wish, just to take that pressure. Relax the shoulders, heels of the hands just gently press together. Now we can sweep the hands down and up, or we can bring them out to the side, inhaling, lifting to crescent moon, as if literally you're holding the moon. And then we're going to draw the hands behind us and just lean forwards gently. So really use the feet to push into to support you. Inhale, we can bring the arms forward or out to the side, back up, whatever way feels comfy. Cactus the arms, opening the chest. Bring the hands forwards, interlace the fingers, and then just draw the index fingers and arch, tucking the chin into the chest. My tummy rumbling, sorry, all the way back, cactus arms. I did actually eat earlier. My friend's got hens up in the glen, and she gave me loads of eggs. I was like, I have to have an omelette. It's lovely. So my tummy's saying hello. And then we're going to bring ourselves, we're going to frame the foot back into that runner's lunge. Now, if you need, you can just shuffle that foot back so you give yourself a nice amount of space. And then just place the hand just to support, opening up into easy twist. And then allow the hand to support you. Bring the knee down to the mat, untuck the toe if you wish, and draw yourself out your hips as you come up, and then open, low lunge, crescent moon. Brilliant. And think about lifting these hips up, but equally pushing the knees, so pushing the heel towards you and the knee that way. And what you'll do, you'll start to engage the inner thigh. We're going to bring the hands down gently. We're coming to about a half monkey split. So we're just rolling back on that heel. Super sticky mats. You have to just kind of push your way so that you can just roll. I have to give myself a little bit of space there. Try and keep your weight over the midline. You okay there? Bend your knee then. If you're like, oh, that's a bit tight on the hamstring, bend your knee a little bit. Okay, there's lots of options we have here. Some people are quite flexible, and some people have got tight hamstrings, and we're all different. We're going to roll forwards. Now we're going to give ourselves some height by lifting up, drawing our back knee off, and then draw the foot underneath you into plank. Bring the knees all the way down to the mat, shift the hips back, and really scoop the chest and the chin towards the mat, coming down. It is a little vinyasa that is an 8-part vinyasa. It's not the same as chaturanga. It's just a different way. All the way back to the mat. And then push all the way to child's pose. Take a wee moment here with the breath, inhaling and exhaling. And then just draw the hands towards you. Now I'm going to throw in, and I like giving you a wee bit of a challenge as well, because we work out what we can do and what we can't do and how we modify things and things that we need to learn. And I'm still learning loads and loads. So if things feel a bit like, oh, I can't do that, don't. It's absolutely fine. Ignore everybody and do your own thing. So if I'm in downward dog and you think that's just too much and I don't want to do tripod and I'm absolutely not going to do whatever she's doing on the mat just there, take a moment, either watch and see if you can work out what you can do if you're learning as well, come to child's pose, or come to something totally different. I always love coming back to Malasana. For me, my knees will click, but I find it quite grounding pose, and it's also brilliant for strengthening legs and Mula Bandha, our pelvic floor, and then I know I'm active, but I'm also watching around the room and learning as well. So please, if I see someone doing something different in any of my classes, well, unless you're kind of walking out the door, I'd be a little bit concerned, but then that's absolutely fine. So we're going to play. So what we're going to do, we're going to come to downward facing dog. So we're going to play with a little sequence here. And those in my classes before, you'll know where I'm probably going to head. So we're going to come up to downward facing dog, and in downward facing dog, just pedal your feet out. Now, we're working on feeling at the moment. We're working on our kind of hands being kind of spread, the fingers being spread, the core just supporting us. And we're going to anchor the left foot, and we're going to lift the right foot up. Now, there's lots of options here. Traditionally in Hatha, we keep the toes pointing down, and so the leg doesn't come up very high, otherwise it starts to twist out the hip, okay? But if you want to flex your foot, you can. But what we're going to do, we're going to bring the heel to the glute and open the hip. So we're like stacking our hip. Oh, so we're opening. So we're doing a little three-legged open hip dog. And then with this foot, so I've got my right foot up. We're now going to draw that right foot all the way, and this is it needs a little bit of strength, but have a go. We're going to draw it all the way under the left-hand side, slightly off the mat, into a little fallen star, and then open that left hand if you wish. So we come into something called falling star. Do you want me to show you how I got into there? I told you I'd throw things at you. But it's when we start smiling, you go, right, I can explore, I can do with my body as well. So downward facing dog, anchor the left foot, lift the right. So you'll see that the toes are coming down, and I can open that hip and stack that hip. And then I draw that knee back, I draw that right foot under, it skirts underneath the left-hand side onto the side of my right foot. And then I open, it's almost like a little side plank variation. Do you want me to do it this way? I can do it this way as well. So lifting the leg, draw under, like a little stabilizer. That's it. If you can't do it, staying downward facing dog, that's absolutely fine. That's it, there we are. It's good practice. And when I tell you what, Sally, when you slow things down, boy, my goodness. I said to the comedy class, and I think some of them are online as well, that, you know, join this class online, because it is actually really good, Iona. Because we move things through flow and we're like, yeah, that's easy. Actually, when you hold the pose, you've got the harder class. Don't tell them. So if, again, you know, wrists, take a break, just give the wrists, laugh a little, come into that Malasana pose, which is great for just playing. And we can also take the hands to the mat. We can open this Malasana pose up. We can open a wing up in Malasana. And I'm actually using the back of my arm just against the knee, which gives me a little bit of support. Right, yeah, so this is because my heels are like this is too, look, it might be this way. So what you can do, heels down to the mat, if you force things, is never a good idea. Mine naturally go down to the mat. So if you're on tiptoes, and you might always be on tiptoes, but you want a little bit of support, you can just use a blanket or like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. And there's no right or wrong, Iona. So that's possibly why I'm doing it, is because I've actually got, you can see my toes are just splaying across the side, which means I've got room to bring my hips down. It's kind of a bit of a hip opener as well. Not a hip opener, but it's working with the hip flexors. So, but some people will be narrower and some people will come up higher. And some people will have hips higher, and some people are going, could you just stop talking, let me outfit? And you can play with this as well. So just allowing that stretch through the body. And then we're going to walk forwards again and play on the other side, because we don't do things just on one side. So we're going to come back to that downward facing dog and play a little again here. So we're going to anchor the right foot now. So when I anchor the right foot, I'm actually stepping it very slightly towards the center naturally. So I'm not anchoring it right out on the edge. I'm actually bringing it slightly more under me, and that lifts my kind of balance. And that left leg then lifts into tripod or three-legged dog, depending what you want to call it. And then I'm opening that hip. And it might just be that you come down to all fours and take a child's pose, or it might be that you take that left foot and you tuck it under, moving all your notes out the way. And you come to the side of the foot, and you can come to falling star on the other side. And it could be that you're in child's pose. That's fine. And then draw your hands all the way to the mat. We're going to come to downward facing dog, and we're going to walk the hands towards us. We come standing at the back of the mat, lift, hinging at the hips. Who said yoga was easy? So we're just going to take a moment here, and I just want you to close your eyes and really connect. If you feel like you're wobbling, keep one eye open, but just connect with the mat, the earth. Relax your shoulders. And then just breathe. Just notice your breath partway through the practice. We're coming towards the end part of the practice. You don't need to change anything at all. Then we're going to bring hands to the heart. And we're going to step our right foot forwards. And we're going to step our left into Virabhadrasana 2, into Warrior 2. So I'm stepping back. Now, just where you're comfy, and actually everyone has naturally stepped back really well. I'm going to sink into that front knee. What I want you to do is I want you to think about pushing your heels into the mat and pushing them towards each other. You'll feel the inner thigh connect. And then this front leg, I want you to think about spiraling that leg open, that muscle open. You'll notice your knee now stabilizes. Okay, and we're going to open the arms, the back of the mat into Warrior 2. I just opened them, so I went left arm all the way back, right arm forwards. Lots of ways of getting into. Relax the shoulders. Gaze over the front hand if that's comfy for the neck, or out if it isn't. We're going to just turn the palm at the front. Drop the hand just into the waist at the back. My palm is facing out. And then keeping that integrity of the legs, we're going to lift up into reverse warrior. Sweeping the hands back to warrior two. We're going to push through that front heel and straighten the leg, but not lock that front knee. So now think about pushing those heels in. Now think about engaging that front calf muscle. Turn the palms facing out. And we're going to think about the length down our side at the front. And we're going to lift up, inhaling and exhaling. Try and keep a little bit of length in that side. So coming over into Trikonasana. So Anne-Marie, you're coming forwards to me rather than back. So if you come back, your right hand comes forwards to the front of the mat. That's it. Into Trikonasana. Okay. So at this point, I want to come round and help. So your back arm is down. What happens is we don't realize how far back our arm's gone. And so we're pushing on that shoulder joint. So if we just open our chest and allow that kind of length, then that's it. That's much better. Okay. Push all the way through, up, back to warrior two. Turn the hands to prayer. Turn the back foot, step to the front of the mat. Step on the opposite side, back to warrior two. Think about the heels coming together. Just spiraling open that thigh. Open into warrior two. Excellent. Turn the palm and come into reverse warrior, tucking that hand just into the small of the back, or it can come down the leg as well. Back to warrior two. Push through that heel at the front. And then keeping that length, keeping these ribs open as well. Imagine you're sliding down a beautiful glass wall. Excellent. Push back to warrior two arms. Sink into the knee, hands come forwards, turn that back foot. We're going to bring the hands to frame the foot and bring ourselves all the way down to the knees. Slide the feet to the side. Allow yourself to come down to the mat. And take a moment here. Now, just extending the arms gently. You could just lift yourself. Lift, let yourself go back a little. Try not to round, so keep integrity, keep the shoulders and the chest open, the collarbones open. You might wish to bring feet off the mat if you want to. If you've got a full boat, Navasana, you might, and I am wobbly today, I've been working so hard. You might, well done. And shaking as the muscles working. I think mine have been overused today. And come all the way down. And then we're going to roll all the way back, gently down to the mat. Bring the feet as wide as the yoga mat and bring the knees just together. Allow your spine just to, it doesn't need to be pushed into the mat, just allow it to settle naturally. And take a moment with the breath here. And then bring the knees all the way up into the chest. And gently circle the knees. Just gently one way and maybe side to side, or and then bring those feet all the way back down to the edge of the mat. And the knees can just gently go back and forward. So I tuck one knee in towards the other, and it gives us a pine twist, like windshield wiper back and forwards. And then wherever you are, if you are starting to cool down and you've got a blanket, we're just going to take a wee relaxation just at the end. So you can always take the blanket and just cover you, or pop your socks on and just come down to Shavasana. Some folk like just to be seated, and that's absolutely fine. I always quite like sitting at the end, but wherever you are, just take a moment to get comfy. Just allowing yourself just time to just let the body settle. Let the arms feel heavy. Let the legs feel heavy. And then just allow the breath to rise and fall. Just noticing the inhale, noticing the exhale, long or short. If the breath is feeling hot or cold, nothing's right or wrong, it's just how and what you're noticing. And then just very gently start to move the hands, start to move the toes. And then very slowly just move onto your side and take a moment there. And there's no rush. And then very slowly drawing yourself back up when you're ready, and only when you're ready, to seated. And sometimes we take a mudra for concentration, and I quite like, there's lots and lots. I quite like a little earth mudra where I bring my fourth finger and my thumb together. But it might just be your hands are comfy down, or maybe in wherever. We're just going to gently, just again, work with the breath, notice the breath. And then bringing the hands together gently at the heart. Just gently pushing the heels of the hands together. Going to take an inhale and exhale. And thank you very much for joining class tonight.